music, you know Chris Benoit, the Canadian crippler, is in the house, the heavyweight champion. We'll talk to him. Did he almost quit with the neck injury? Who helped him along the way and who hurt him? And his great relationship with Eddie Guerrero. Chris Benoit, one-on-one. Bring it on.
Off the Record with Michael Landsberg is brought to you by the Cake Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks, good friends, see you tonight.
We have done these one-on-ones for, about as long as we have had a we here at OTR. And for me, the true special ones, beyond The Rock and Stone Cold and even Vince, are when we have Canadians. And right now, we have the guy who's not just the top Canadian, but top guy in the world wrestling entertainment, Chris Benoit, the champion. Nice to see you, Chris.
Great to be here.
You still a Canadian kid, even though they now say he hails from Georgia?
Residing in
Okay,
Atlanta.
very important. We'll talk about that later on. Congratulations. They gave you the belt. I want to take you back, and I want you to take us there. March the 14th, Madison Square Gardens, WrestleMania 20. You've been working at this since you were 18 years of age?
Yep.
And all of a sudden now, you're holding the belt after winning. Tell me what you're feeling as...
No, I mean, this is, you know, I'd said before that match that, you know, this is going to be the defining moment of 18 years of work, and it truly was. It's like after that happened, it's like everything, like I could see the people clapping, like it was something surreal. It was beyond anything that I've ever experienced, and I could see, like, you know, I had thoughts of being down in the dungeon, training with Stu. My first match in Calgary, going over to Japan, going over, like my whole career flashed before me.
Now, do you feel like your company has made a push to giving the belt and giving pushes to guys who are smaller, right? And was that like the key sort of change in philosophy for you? Because you've always been known as a guy who was probably the greatest wrestler on the planet, but too small to be champion.
You know, I never looked at it like that way. A lot of people have, and I've heard it over and over again. To me, you know, I've always been told too. It's like, well, you don't politic enough. You don't, you know. I'm very quiet. I'm somewhat of an invert, so I'm not very outgoing. It's like, but I am me. I am who I am. I'm not going to change for, you know.
Did you think this would happen? Because as you say, you're not a guy who's going to grab the microphone and entertain the way The Rock entertains, or even a guy like Chris Jericho. You have a company that Vince McMahon has always said he loves big, huge, massive guys. Those are the guys that he wants to be the champ. So you're either big or you're really great with the microphone. Did you ever think this is never going to happen?
No, I didn't. No, because I mean, look at Shawn Michaels. Look at Brett. I mean, you look at some of the champions. They weren't big, monstrous guys. So you know, that was proven wrong long ago. But
were you worried about the company having cold feet? Because this was in the works for a while, right? Heyman was pushing you as far back as last fall. Did you ever think, you know what, maybe they're going to take it away from me? Because your company has done that before, right?
Yeah, that's like initially when it was brought up in that, I thought, well, you know, if it happens, it's cool. If it don't, it's cool, because I'm doing what I love to do. This is my passion. I consider myself an artist, like a sculptor, a painter, a rock and roll singer. What I do is art, and it's my passion. And it's like, no matter where I am, I'm going to be happy because I'm doing what I love to do. This is a great honor to be able to call myself.
And when he says this, you're pointing to the belt,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
But whether you had the belt or not, you're first and foremost a wrestler, right?
First and foremost a wrestler, and first and foremost to go out there and wrestle and entertain the fans.
Any goal at all to be a crossover guy? Because obviously, you know, you can't watch television for an hour and not see a trailer for a movie for The Rock. A lot of guys in your company have crossed over, and now Rock's doing it successfully. You're at the top now. Would you move at all away from what you've been, and that has been strictly a wrestler?
If the opportunity arose, I would.
Really?
Yeah, but you know, right now nothing's been offered, nothing's been talked about. So, I mean, I'm thrilled to be where I'm at in my career right now, and that's what I'm focused on.
Any vindication for you, given the fact that, you know, especially WCW, Vanilla Midget, Nash called you that. I mean, I'm sure you've been called a lot worse things than that. But it's this, you know, and you've already said that you're an introverted guy, you're a positive guy who's not going to stick the finger out and say, look, I told you so. But is there anyone, as you're holding the belt up, that you're thinking, this one's for you?
In terms of, you know, rub it in their face?
Yeah,
or?
yeah.
No, because to me it's like, you know, that was for everyone that has ever encouraged me, that has always said that you can do it, and that was also included to everyone that said that you can't do it, because to me that's the greatest revenge is success.
So you're the guy now that holds the belt, right? And young wrestlers would look at the guy with the belt and say, you know what, can I do that? I can never be like Chris Benoit. Do you feel a responsibility to the young guys? And more than that, did a guy like Hulk Hogan ever help you and give the benefit of what he had, because you wrestled with him for a long time?
Yeah, I've never wrestled a singles match against him. I've wrestled in tags with him. But just having been with him in WCW and having watched the way he carried himself, he, in my opinion, just my opinion, he was a very political guy. And you know, there were times where he'd walk by me and not say hi to me. And I didn't think that he carried the belt well and represented it well. Because to me, it's like last Monday, we're at TV, and they have dark matches where they're local guys that come in that aren't going to be shown on TV, that they're just getting an opportunity for the office to see them wrestle. I mean, I spend 15, 20 minutes talking to these guys, encouraging them. You know, I'll stand up and take my shirt off and say, look, it can be done. You know, believe in yourself, because that's what it's about. And it's like, there's a lot of champions that I never got that from, you know, throughout my years. And I looked at that and I thought, no, that's not right. That's not what being a champion's about.
So those guys would probably look at you and say, you know what, if I could be like one guy, it might be Chris Benoit, because you're the champion right now. If you could be one guy, who would it be? From Buddy Rogers to Triple H. If there's one guy you could say, I'd like to emulate him, I liked him, who would it be?
Well, I always emulated Dynamite Kid, but right now, to me, it's Chris Benoit. I mean, I'm very happy with who I am, and I've fallen on my face a lot, and I've been through a lot of crap, and I've been peaks and valleys. But, you know, I'm very happy with who I am today and what I've achieved. That's what I've worked for. It took me 18 years, but, you know, I got there. And I got there the way I wanted to, with my dignity, and I kept my dignity, my respect, the way I wanted it to be.
Roll in the music, I did it my way. You're talking about peaks and valleys. We'll talk about those, because wrestling has been dominated by guys at the top, at the bottom, and you can work in both directions, and you're at the top right now, and we're thrilled for that. He's Chris Benoit, and he's a kid from Montreal, grew up in Edmonton, and now he's the guy who holds the belt in the WWE. Back with more OTR in a moment. Now, when I say I got a pain in my neck, I'm saying that as a layman. But when a wrestler says, I got a pain in my neck, that means trouble. What you do is dominated by guys with serious neck injuries. And you had a very serious one, right? 2001. You missed a year? Mm-hmm. Any thought over that period of time or saying, you know what, I've made good money, I've had good times, I'm going to quit while I can still walk?
When I was sitting in the doctor's office in San Antonio, which Dr. Youngblood, who Stone Cold Steve Austin referred me to, and he told me what needed to be done, that, you know, that evening, I cried. I called home and cried, and I said, I don't know if I'll ever be able to wrestle again. It was very. I was afraid for the first time whether I'd be able to, you know, pursue what I love doing. And but after that, the next day, I'm like, okay, we got to do it. It's got to be done. Let's do it. Let's go on with it. And from there, it's, you know, it's about thinking positive and being positive and rehabbing it. And since I've been back, knock on wood, I haven't had anything questionable happen in the ring where I'm like, oh, you know, what was that? Nothing. So people ask me, they say, how's your neck? I say, my neck's fine. My knees hurt, my elbows hurt, you know, my shoulder joints hurt. Neck's fine, though. You know, it's like everything else hurts.
You're a guy who's at risk, though, because you're a wrestler, right? You don't have gimmicks to fall back on. You can't take a match off. You can't take 5 minutes off. When guys wrestle Chris Benoit, they know you're going wall-to-wall aggressive. What's the key for you, the absolute key in terms of staying healthy and in terms of your longevity now, knowing that?
Persistence, you know, persistence in my way of life, and working out and eating good and trying to get a good night's sleep, which is impossible on the road, but it basically persistence. And throughout the years, I've been so fortunate to have you know, crossed paths with people and become friends with people through my life, and I've seen them rise and I've seen them fall. You know, and one of my best friends, Eddie Guerrero, I was traveling with him. I went through him when I seen him fall, and it's like, you know, it's about taking care of yourself and being persistent with that and consistent with that. So
I want to save the Guerrero thing for later on because I think in a lot of ways it sums up so much about the industry. In your case, it sums up friendship, camaraderie, a guy that you work with. We'll get to that in a second. What motivates you? Because a lot of guys are motivated by being a star, right? They want to be a star. A lot of guys want to be rich.
big difference, big difference. When I'm watching the show, I could tell by watching how they perform, how they wrestle out there, who's out there because they're passionate about it, and who is out there for the stardom, for the for the accolades. It's like there's a huge difference. Like I said, to me, I'm an artist, and what I do, I'm passionate about. There's some guys that come in like the Lex Lugers and guys like that. That it was about the money, it was about the fame. Whereas other guys that come in, the Bret Harts, I mean, myself, it's about the passion. I love
Could you be friends
wrestling.
with a guy like Lex Luger, a guy who doesn't share the same passion for wrestling that you have?
Well, yeah, I've got friends
Brock?
outside of the industry.
Can you be friends with Brock?
Brock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
I'm good
quit,
friends.
right?
Yeah, I'm good friends with Brock.
But he quit, right, because he didn't like the life, the travel, and all
Well,
of all
everyone's
that
not
means.
cut out for it,
Right.
And I hope that he is extremely successful in the NFL if that's what he's trying, if that's what he wants to attain. Because life is about dreams and succeeding and chasing your dreams. I was fortunate enough to have a dream and be able to pursue it and succeed at it, and I hope he's able to do it. But really, I'll bet anything that he will be back. Whether he goes to the NFL or not, he will be back because wrestling, I mean, he's a wrestler. He grew up amateur wrestling. He'll be back.
He was one of the chosen ones, though, wasn't he?
Yes.
Right, and you weren't, right?
In terms
You
of,
had to work your ass off to get that belt. In the gym, in the ring, you had to become arguably the best technical wrestler in the world to have a chance at that, right?
Yes and no. Yes and no. To me, and I've had conversations with Kurt Angle, and I'm good friends with Kurt, but we've got into like, verbal debates, and to me, I'm like, I've been champion before, and having the belt, that is so. It's such an honor to have that bestowed upon you because you're representing the whole company. But I've had compliments from my peers. I've had Vince McMahon pull me aside after matches and compliment me in ways that were more rewarding than getting a big check or more rewarding than attaining a belt. That made me champion within myself. It says, hey man, yeah, that to have your peers compliment you, it don't go beyond that to me.
Great answer. We'll go to break, and we will return with Chris Benoit. He was born in Canada, but he resides in Atlanta, Georgia. We'll talk about whether that pisses you off when OTR returns.
Fighter from Atlanta, Georgia, weighing in at 229 pounds, he is the new World Heavyweight Champion, Chris Benoit.
Hello,
Well, it said
Atlanta,
from.
Georgia. It said
supposed
from.
to be now residing in Atlanta, which it normally is, and really I've got no problems with that. I say I'm from Edmonton. That's where my heart is. That's where my influential years were. I feel that's where I grew up. That's what I call home.
Word is that head office finds it more difficult and is concerned about pushing baby faces, right?
In terms of,
That are from Canada.
I haven't heard that.
Well, I have.
Okay.
Because I've spent a lot more time in head office than you.
See, that's the thing, like with stuff off the internet and all that, a lot of people are like, well, such a vanilla midget. But I've never heard him say that. He's never came up to me and said that. So it's like, where did you hear it from? All right, I heard it from so-and-so. Well, you better go find out where he heard
You
it
didn't
from.
care, though, right? Anyway,
No,
even if
I
he
don't
said
care,
it.
no. Big
Well,
deal.
we're talking about the Canadian guys, and I know you're tight with a lot of those guys, right?
Yeah.
There's a real group that stays together. You watch each other's back, right?
Somewhat.
Yeah, just go with me. I'm not going to bust you on this. So, but a guy that you are really close with, right, is Eddie Guerrero. I asked you beforehand, on Raw, who were you closest with, and you said over the years Eddie Guerrero, without question.
Yeah.
Tell me about his fall and his comeback. So let's take it in order. First of all, the fall.
Eddie, he had a few accidents. He had some vehicle accidents, along with what we do to our bodies, and with the pain medication and whatnot, and between that and the alcohol, consumed him, as a person, and became a bad habit that he couldn't control, and he fell. I mean, if anyone has ever fallen as deep, I've never seen anyone fall as deep as he has, and I was very concerned for him. But he's the most influential person that I've ever met in my life because of the comeback that he has made within himself and with around his life, within the people in his life. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, he's put everything back together. He's very, very happy, very focused, very at peace with himself right now.
How hard is it, though, to come back to the same world that pushed you into the depths of darkness to start with?
No. The world doesn't push you into the depths of darkness. You do. And it drives me nuts because the week before WrestleMania, there's a big article in USA Today talking about Dale Wilkes, the Patriot. Raven was in there. Someone else was in there talking about Louis Piccoli and all the pills. Ravens, 200 pills a day habit. And 200 pills a day. I had neck surgery, all right? I'm laying in the hospital the day after, and I'm taking no more than 4 pain pills a day. 200 pills a day? No, it's a little extreme, okay? And they blame it on the industry. No, it's your choice, all right? I've been doing this 18 years. I do it now. I do it every week. I think I got a pretty good grasp, and I think I'm not an outsider looking in. So that's all BS, complete BS. It's your choice. It's your decision. And that, the media they love to take something like that and run with it. And it's not the world of wrestling drove them to alcohol, or the world of wrestling drove them to drugs. No, you do that to yourself, all right? And anyone that says, please come and debate me. Let's debate it right now. Go fact for fact. That's your choice.
So it was Guerrero's choice?
Yes, definitely.
But you had sympathy for him?
Yeah.
Right? You understood you understood why he popped those pills.
I understood why. I didn't understand, I couldn't understand like how they could control you so much in the way that they did him. But I understood why. Yeah, we're in pain.
He's back and healthy now, right?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, as I said, he's the most influential person that I've ever met in my life. Like, inspiring, I'm sorry.
Great. As we go to break, as always, we want to know your thoughts as they relate to our guest. And this one's for you. Hey, Chris, you're a beer and chicken wings kind of guy. The kids today are all bling bling and video games. Do you ever feel out of touch with the dressing room?
No, not at all. No. As I said, I'm one of the first guys to go into the new guys, young guys coming in and sit down and talk to them. Because I love going up to guys and saying, who influenced you as growing up when you were watching it? And they'll say Ultimate Warrior. So, okay, I know this guy's not a
Your
wrestler.
bling bling are the boots, right?
My bling bling?
Your boots!
Okay, what's a bling bling?
We'll talk in a second. More in a moment. To me, at least, the belt is artificial. We're with Chris Benoit, great Canadian wrestler. They give the belt to you because they think it's good for the company, not necessarily because you deserve it. But what has distinguished Chris Benoit for years and years is the fact that people around the world say, you are technically as good a wrestler as has ever wrestled. And I think that's the biggest compliment. So in that stance, from that perspective, you deserve that thing.
That is a great compliment. And just having some of the memories I've got from some matches that say the Owen Hart tribute match with Brett at Kemp Arena. The response that I got from the fans, the respect. The Royal Rumble of last year with Kurt Angle when he made me tap out in the middle of the ring, and I got a standing ovation after. I mean, that just, to me, that's a sign of respect and appreciation for what I've done and what I'm doing. And all that combined with winning the belt at WrestleMania 20, and that fashion, making Triple H tap out, who has never tapped out to anyone, mid-ring, no interference, that means a lot to me.
And it also means a lot that, I mean, it's a business, right? And you've got to drive people's interest if you're the champion. WrestleMania 20, second highest, I think, grossing WrestleMania in terms of pay-per-view that you've had, which is fabulous, right? And that's good on your resume.
Yeah, most definitely.
And you now have to talk about next pay-per-view. Tell me about that.
Yeah, but before we go to that, in terms of that...
No, I'm calling the interview here. Okay, Benoit, okay? You're not calling the match.
Don't make me get up.
Okay.
No.
I'll be good.
No, to me, it was a team effort. You know, I mean, you know, I don't think the people.
First cliche of the day, right there, Benoit.
The people don't come to see one person, one match. I mean, they came to see a WWE product, a WWE show. So, you know, I want to congratulate everyone that was on that show and everyone that, you know, played a part in putting it together. Backlash. Edmonton, Rexall Place.
How was that for you going back to Edmonton?
It's always very special. Always very unique. You know, I was just talking to you off air about the.
Whoa! Don't talk about that.
What?
Oh no. Kayfabe.
Kayfabe. Oh, what's that?
I don't know. I was throwing
you ever met her?
What's that?
Have you ever met her?
I hear she's super hot. Absolutely. Yeah. You playing with me here? Pay-per-view. Viewers' Choice in Canada, April the
18th.
18th. That's Backlash in Edmonton. Yep. Very cool.
Yeah, great.
So we got 20 seconds left. I don't imagine you're going to wrestle till you're 50, given how you put your body through so much punishment. How much longer?
I believe once I can't do what I love to do, once I can't go in there and give the rolling suplexes, once I can't do the headbutt, once I feel that I'm embarrassing myself,
I hear you.
I'm out.
I'm going to retire once I can't kiss another guest's ass the same way I can right now. And for you, it's totally genuine. You're amazing.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Off the Record with Michael Landsberg is brought to you by the Keg Steakhouse and Bar. For great steaks, good friends, see you tonight. Michael Landsberg's wardrobe supplied by Grafton & Company. Get it at Grafton.
I've got kids here.